It was cold that winter evening as I ambled down my quiet street. I needed a walk to clear my mind of all the clutter and stress of the season. It seems that every year it gets worse. More obligatory parties, irritated drivers, and panicky shoppers. Long lines everywhere. I remember a time when I was more expectant, when the reason for all this celebrating meant everything to me. But sadly, this night, my internal monologue was, let's just get this thing over and get back to normal. Frankly, my cynicism troubled me, and when I'm troubled, I take a walk. Even if it's near midnight, even if it's cold, even if there are still things to be done. The hour was late and a light rain was falling. Stray flakes of snow twirled and mingled in. From windows and trees, the lights of the season sparkled through the heavy mist, like stars aching to beam brightly on this dreary, dark night. Turning up my collar, I pulled my jacket tighter. That kind of cold finds its way through most any opening. As I walked, I saw them out of the corner of my eye, Mary, Joseph, the baby Jesus, displayed in a wooden stable in someone's front yard. The usual characters were assembled as well: shepherds, a sheep, camel, the wise men 3. On the stable's roof, a precariously perched angel looked on and was tilting slightly to the left. All of them were illuminated by 2 bright floodlights shining from the grass in front of them. I almost passed them by. They were easy to miss as I've grown accustomed to their presence. They are, after all, available everywhere in all sizes: ornament size, mantle size, coffee table size, and yard size. They come in a box, easy to assemble. But that night, and I'm not sure why, something caused me to turn my head, inviting me to linger. I stopped to look at them for a while, as one would stand in front of a Rembrandt painting in a museum. I must admit it felt somewhat odd and awkward. After all, grown-ups don't pause and stare at yard manger scenes. But for some reason that night, that moment, I felt I should be there, to witness something, to see. I folded my arms and I looked, obedient to this mysterious nudge. She wore blue. Mary always wears blue. A neatly pressed blue garment. Her face, porcelain and untouchable, had a fixed expression, pleasant and peaceful. With her fragile hands folded in prayer, she gazed down adoringly at her child. She was perfect, this Mary, pristine, with moisture glistening on her smooth ceramic shawl. Joseph wore brown. Joseph always wears brown. Brown is a fitting color for a character relegated to the background, for someone who never gets top billing. His eyes appeared vacant and his beard was neatly trimmed. He was there, as he always is, on the edges. He can't seem to find his place. Everyone has something distinctive: wings, crowns, gifts, halos, a shepherd's crook. But all he has is brown. Then there was the baby Jesus, his tiny arms extended, the star attraction. A halo encircled his little head, reaching from ear to ear. A clean white fabric wrapped around him. Swaddled, I suppose, is the appropriate Christmas word to use. He smiled an unearthly smile. He's always happy, this manger Jesus. It looked like he'd never slept and never cried. It didn't appear that he wanted to be held, nursed, or cuddled either. I won't take the time to describe the others, but you know them well. You probably even know where each is positioned at the stable. The shepherds go there, the camels and sheep there, the wise men there, and there. I imagine you, too, are accustomed to their presence. I remained standing, trying to stay warm. Looking at them through the gauzy mist, I pondered. I simply couldn't relate to them in any way. They seemed remote and untouchable, just like this season had become for me. With considerable guilt, I wondered, why don't I like these people? After this abrupt and irreverent thought came to me, I half expected the ground underneath to open up and swallow me whole, or bolt of lightning to descend with a flash and a snap, leaving a little pile of smoldering ashes that used to be me. I closed my eyes and waited for the end. Thankfully, neither the heavens nor the ground opened, so I continued my gaze. And then something happened, something I frankly don't expect you to believe. I heard a noise coming from Mary's direction. It startled me. "Who's that?" I said. Though her figure didn't move, a soft voice pleaded. "This is not me," she cried. "This is not real." And her voice broke. "Please, listen to me. My garment, it isn't this clean, and it's not this brilliant shade of blue. It's a blue faded by the dust of a long journey to Bethlehem. It smells of my sweat and of the mule whose back I rode upon. My blue is stained with red, the blood of birth. It's soiled by the dung of a stable floor. And my face, my real face, is blemished. I'm a teenage girl. My brow is furrowed from worry about this baby, about tomorrow. What will Herod do? Will he find us? And my eyes are red from tears of pain. I'm so lonely and afraid. This is my first baby, and my mother is not here with me. This is not who I am," she said again. "I'm real. Please, let me be real." And her voice trailed off. Her words, both gentle and moving, reached down inside of me so deeply I could barely breathe. And while I was catching my breath, I heard a deeper voice. "You are wrong about me too." It was coming from Joseph's direction. "This is not me. This is not real. Please listen to me," he said firmly. I started to take a step backwards, but his voice riveted me in place. "Listen," he repeated, "really listen. I am not the quiet, simple character you make me out to be. My eyes are not vacant. Hours ago they were full of fire when I grabbed the innkeeper's tunic with a tight grip and said, 'Don't you tell me there is not some room somewhere,' and he found a place for us. I'm a man with a purpose, to travel where I was told to go and to lead my family safely there, and we made it. And now that we are here, I am still on guard, for we're in danger." Joseph continued, "Yes, I wear brown, but it is for stealth. I blend in with my surroundings, and from my vantage point, my eyes scan every opening in this place for anyone who is out to do us harm, and no one will get by me. Let them try. I am the keeper of this light, and I will keep him safe. You are wrong about me. This is not who I am. I am real. Please, let me be real." His words soaked into me like the evening's mist. I felt admonished and awakened to something that was true. And then I heard a cry. I looked at Jesus in the wooden manger. He was thrashing about in the hay. He had soiled himself, and he looked uncomfortable. His cloth was twisted in his arms and legs. He grimaced from the prickly straw. His face was red, and his cry grew louder, the cry of a hungry infant. His toothless mouth opened, and he arched his back. He cried so hard he ran out of breath, and for a moment it was quiet. But I knew it was that quiet before he drew another breath, and then he wailed so loudly I expected the lights in the nearby houses to turn on and the neighbors to come running out. I wondered if he too would speak, but he didn't need to. Somehow his words were in me, and I spoke for him. "This is not me. This is not real. Please listen to me. The reason I came, the reason I was sent, was to be real, to feel everything you felt, to know everything you need, because I needed it too, to hurt like you hurt, to cry like you've cried, laugh like you've laughed, skin my knee like you've skinned your knee, and have my heart broken like your heart has been broken. I came so that one day or one winter night, when you come face to face with your defeat, your moment of absolute need, you can come to me and say, "You know this too. Be with me and lead me through it." and I will. This is not me. I'm real. Please let me be real. Then there was silence, a long stillness that hushed the wind and pushed away the noises of the night. In the quiet, I was being given room to feel and consider what I'd just seen and heard. And out of the silence, the truth appeared like stars revealed by parting clouds. Maybe the figures before me weren't real because I had made them that way so they would be predictable and safe, easy to ignore and boxed up after Christmas, out of sight and out of mind. Maybe if Jesus wasn't real, he would be tame and small. Maybe I had rendered him untouchable because I was afraid of his touch. I'm sorry, I said. I know this isn't you. I can see it now. You're not who I've seen you to be, untouchable and perfect, something I made rather than someone who made me. You are real, you are true, and you are here. I am so sorry, I said, again as my eyes brimmed with tears. The sorrow nudged me to kneel next to a shepherd on the wet grass, in front of something so real, so very real, I couldn't even begin to comprehend it. As I knelt, I became a part of the story, and the story became a part of me, and I felt his gentle pardon. Suddenly, everything expanded. This scene, this night, my heart, and I felt real. After a while, I stood and remained there, quietly looking at them as they gazed back at me, and I realized something. I liked these people now, and I think they liked me. Shivering, I wondered if Jesus was cold too. So I laid my scarf over his hands and his feet, the same hands and feet I would one day see again. I tucked him in as best I could. Good night, I said to him. Sleep well. You've traveled far. I stayed beside him for a few minutes, just as I once stayed beside my own newborn sons as they drifted into sleep. Then a low, regal voice came from one of the wise men. He whispered as if he was aware Jesus was sleeping. We, like you, were drawn to this place and have journeyed far to come here to see what you have seen. And what you have seen is what this world has been waiting for. And from a shepherd standing behind Joseph, I heard another quiet voice. Once you hear the angels sing, you will never be the same. If you listen carefully, they're always singing. And then there was quiet. No more voices, no more movement, no more surprises. I sensed it was time to go. I started the walk back to my house. The cold wind and a few flakes of snow urged me along. My pace was slow and thoughtful. This walk had become a journey I didn't want to end. Something had returned to me, and I yearned for it to remain. When I reached the corner of the street, I thought I heard singing and turned for one last look. In the distance, I saw a warm glow coming from a small wooden stable in a yard down the street, sheltering something inside that was older than the stars and bigger than our whole wide world. And it was real.